you to introduce yourself and tell our audience a few things about you and the company that you have founded.
Hey, Adrian, thanks a lot for the invite. First of all, it's really nice talking to you as always. As a background, I'm an engineer. I'm doing software development for almost 15 years now. Started since high school with some web development, and then moved to freelancing. A lot of it in the web development field, and then migrated to mobile development. And 5 years ago, I've decided together with a friend at that time, who was a designer and now is my co-founder of Salt&Pepper, to take this freelancing work that we were doing to another level, and basically build a company where we can have a great team around which we can build products. And that's how we started with Salt&Pepper 5 years ago. We were just two guys dreaming of building a team. Right now, fast forward 5 years later, we're a team of around 50 people, mostly working in fintech, health, or e-commerce fields with clients from UK and North America. What we like to do a lot is to take ideas, combine them with design and technology, and build products that matter. What that means for us is basically products that can make a change in the life of their users. So yeah, that's pretty much us in a nutshell.
I know everyone has a dream of impacting their customers' professional life in a positive way. And I know there is a lot of debate in this field about which is easier, to write code or run a company. How do you feel about this 5 years later after you started?
Well, that's a very interesting question. To be honest, there are days when it's much easier to write code, and I find it much peaceful. But at the same time, most of the days I like being in this other shoes, like running the company. I don't think I can say one is better than the other, because I enjoy both of them. I think writing code, it's pretty. I mean, I find it peaceful right now, because you can focus on one specific task and try to give your best there and make it as best as possible, right? And running a company is much more complex than that. I mean, there are 100 things that you need to take in consideration while doing that, and things that can impact your day-to-day activity. So yeah, definitely it's much more challenging. But personally, I enjoyed writing code because right now I'm not doing that anymore, and sometimes I miss it. I do it in sometimes over the weekends. I write a bit of code just for relaxation, as I said. But right now for me, it's much more challenging. Running the business and building things from scratch and seeing how they run by themselves.
A lot of people, when they first start this journey, they don't think about what it takes to build a company, and you've obviously built one which is successful so far. It's been 5 years, and I think you've grown quite beautifully to almost 50 people. How did you approach this? Were you thinking about what will it take to build the company, run the company, subjects like business, operations, HR, sales, or you just learn along the way as you were building the company?
Some of these things we already knew. Personally, while being in faculty, I was involved in a student NGO. Basically, that was the place where I learned a lot of the things that helped me while in the early days of the business. Things like how do you build a company structure? How do you build departments? How do you build an organizational culture? What's the importance of a mission for an organization, of values, and so on? So those were all the things that me and my co-founder learned in that NGO, because we were both in the same NGO. And to be honest, that was a lifesaver for us in the early days, because we already knew the initial building blocks of an organization, and that helped us a lot. Now, of course, those were just the initial steps, and we had to build on top of that, and at the same time build in a totally different domain from where we've learned this, but they were really useful. And yeah, I could say that we started by thinking about all these aspects, and one of the things that I like to think that we did pretty well until now, and hopefully we'll do it going forward, is thinking ahead of time, trying to build the structure that we need for tomorrow as we are going to grow, and not try to build a structure just to solve yesterday's problems. I think that was one of the things that helped us grow.
Thinking ahead of time, what would you say it will be hot market from the software development perspective in a few years? How do you see the market evolving in the context of the pandemic, or where would you go to find hidden gems when it comes to good projects that would take the company forward?
One of the markets that we try to focus, and I think it's gonna grow a lot in the following years. I mean, it has grown until now, but will continue. Would be the fintech sector. I think together with all the digitalization that's happening around the banking system and all the traditional financial systems, combined with all the new aspects like cryptocurrencies and so on, I think this is going to grow a lot, because there are a lot of services which at some point were only for a few selected people, like big banking institutions or financial institutions. For example, take for example trading, which right now due to technology is very accessible to anyone around the globe who has a mobile phone or any device connected to the internet, right? So yeah, I think there will be a lot of interesting projects in that area. Of course, automation, and I think the recent example of UiPath, it's a great success, and it's telling us that there will be a lot of interesting projects in that area, because I think we as people are trying to move as fast as possible right now, and we're going to try to do that, and we need the automation to solve some of these problems and try to increase the speed of development. And if we are to go maybe even further, I would say that space technology, at least for me, sounds like a pretty interesting topic. I'm not sure exactly what's going to be there and how we can get there from Romania, but definitely it's going to be something very interesting.
On this topic, let's assume that somebody which is a close friend of yours decides to build a startup at some point in future and ask you to act as a consultant. So they would like to hire a software development company, but they do not want to do business with you because you are obviously friends. So you are asked to act as a consultant and to choose between various providers of such services and help them make the best decision. Obviously, as an insider, you have a different view than most of us, which are not in the same position as you are. So what would you look for in a potential provider for such services when you would be interviewing or evaluating other companies?
Well, interesting question. The first thing that comes to mind is try to find a partner with whom you can build a trust relationship, and that means a relationship where you can easily and transparently communicate any issues or situations. I think that's very important, because if you don't have that transparency with a partner, with a technical partner that you're trying to build a product, I think it's going to backfire on both sides. I mean, if your technical partner is telling you, okay, we can do this, and then they encounter different issues and it takes a lot more time, and you don't know why it's taking that much time from the other side, you cannot manage your business or you cannot manage your timeline. But if you have that visibility and your partner is telling you, okay, we're not going to meet this deadline because of these reasons, these are our recommendations, let's go this way, at least you know what's happening behind the scenes with the actual development, right? And you can make some better business decisions, right? And in the end get to a successful product. Now all of us know that things don't always go according to plan, right? And maybe the most important thing is to adapt and try to find solutions in order to get to your milestones, to your goals, right? And I think it's the same thing in any domain and in anything that you do, building companies or building software products. I think you need to, of course, to have a plan, try to stick to it. But at the same time, when things don't go as planned, to try and be transparent, discuss about what the issues are or what problems you've encountered and so on, and try to find solutions to go forward. I think that would be one of the most important things.
You mentioned the key aspect, which is trust, and which I think is quite important, especially in the early stages of finding a potential partner for software development. Mm-hmm. Do you think in the current context of the pandemic we are experiencing, can you still build trust online with people which you have not met previously?
Well, due to the pandemic, we have to. So, yeah, I think it's much more harder than when you see each other face to face and maybe work together for some time. But yeah, I think it's still possible to build trust even remotely, because I think trust is not only based on if we like each other when we see each other face to face. I think it's based on a few basic values, like, for example, integrity, right? I mean, when I say integrity, I mean do what you say we're gonna do. And if we apply this and a few other aspects, even if we never met face to face, I think we can easily build this trust. Because yeah, it's not easy. I mean, it requires more time, and it requires being consistent and showing to the person that you're working with over and over that you have these values, that you put them in practice, right? And I think in time you can easily build that trust.
Looking back at your, let's say, first 5 years as a company, can you tell me in a few words what led to the growth of Salt&Pepper, and how were you discovering new business relationship, or how did you meet your current customers? What were like the most successful business endeavors in which you've invested that brought back customers for growing the business?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think one of the key aspects I've already mentioned, trying to always think ahead of time. I mean, trying to think where you're going to be in like 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. I know you're not always going to know for sure, but at least an idea, so you know what to prepare for and what to plan for. And second of all, I think is understanding this relationship that you have with your client. And when I say that, it comes to mind one thing that I've always tried to tell to my team: the fact that we are not selling software development services. What exactly we're selling is trust. I mean, there is a trust relationship between us and our clients, which is based, as I mentioned, on a few key aspects, where basically they trust us with their problems, with their challenges, and we can rise up to the occasion and help them solve these problems. I think that's one of the most important things. The fact that we invested a lot of time and effort in the first clients that we've worked with, in order to make a good impression, and also to make sure that we deliver what we said we're going to deliver. And basically that helped us in the long run, because if you have a happy client that's pleased with your work and working with you, definitely they will recommend you going forward. And at least for us, in the early years, that was one of the key aspects, because most of the business was either from existing clients, increasing their business, or recommended us to other potential clients.
Moving forward for the next 5 years, if you were to have the opportunity, would you choose to do multiple smaller projects for growth, or would you prefer to go after more, let's say, enterprise customer, like bigger customers, and obviously a smaller number? Which of the two would you say would bring the most growth to you at this stage, from 50 upwards? And I'm going to ask you about what number do you think the company will have as employees after 5 years afterwards?
Okay. I mean, both type of projects have their advantages and their disadvantages. Now, small projects, you iterate a lot of ideas really fast and you learn really fast from them. But on the other side, I mean, they're not that stable from a business perspective. There is a lot of hassle around trying to find the next project and the next project and so on. And also sometimes for the teams, it's a bit tiring to like do the same thing over and over again, like do the login with Facebook for this app once at 3 months, you know. Now, bigger projects, on the other hand, they have the advantage that they are more stable on the long run, and maybe also a few other disadvantages. Now, of course, I think a perfect balance would be somewhere in between. And that's what we're trying to aim for, to have some bigger projects with some long-term clients, so long-term partnerships, but at the same time try to have those type of clients that have a product which is either in an early stage or just scaling up, where basically we can feel we have an impact, and the team also can feel that they have an impact in how the product is growing. So that's our perfect type of product.
How much time do you need to assess if a customer is right for you when you start a new collaboration?
To be honest, I never thought of it, but I think for some clients you can know from the first few meetings. I mean, for some of them you can even know from the first emails. If you do like a call, again, you know from the first minutes of the call, or if you're a match. I tend to take a lot of my decisions, or how I took them until now, also based on intuition. Of course, you take the facts you also think of the facts, but I think also intuition plays a key role. And I've noticed that I can make a good opinion about a potential client or project even in the first interactions. But there were also situations where basically the first interaction were not, I mean, they weren't didn't tell us that, okay, this is a perfect client, but afterwards we realized it was a good match. But usually in the first few interactions, you should make an opinion if it's a good potential project for your company.
On the opposite side, if you were to choose 3 to 5 words to explain to a customer why you as a company are a great fit to them, what would you say about Salt&Pepper?
Integrity, transparency, and trust. I think those were like three things that come to mind really quick, and maybe long-term partnerships. I think those would be a few words that could easily describe us. And of course, agile. because we like to think of ourselves that we are like a mix between the startup ecosystem, where you have to be very agile and move very fast, and the ecosystem of big organizations, where basically you need structure and processes in place. So in order to do a quality job, and we're trying to mix these two in order to find a balance between them, so that we can be agile when we need to be, but at the same time work in a structure that gives us a good process, and also guarantees that we deliver good products.
Considering you know pretty well from what you told me who you are a good fit for and what do you look for in a customer, what makes it difficult to find such customers in order to take the company and grow it further?
I wouldn't say it's, I mean, for us, for example, what was pretty difficult in the early days was the fact that, I mean, we didn't have like a sales team to do that for us, or so we were doing everything. And personally, I was doing a lot of different things, right? And I think that was one of the challenge in the early days. Now, recently we started developing also the management layer of the company, and basically that gives us time to focus on a few other areas. So even gives me more time to focus on the sales side, and trying to connect with people that might have interesting opportunities for us in terms of projects. That would be one of the things that comes to mind. Yeah, of course, this pandemic also was a challenge, because personally I'm more of an offline guy, so I liked a lot going to different conventions, conferences, meeting people face to face, and so on. So we had to adapt, and basically that's what we did since last year until now, trying to adapt in doing all this online instead of all the things that we started doing offline. We felt that they were working, and then everything stopped.
The game changed, right?
Yes. When you feel like, okay, right now we're doing things right and it's
Finally.
working, yeah, everything stops.
Life comes, life happens. Do you think it's a measure of success for companies in the software development field, the total number of employees? Do you think it reflects their success or the quality of the service they are providing?
No, I don't think so. I think it depends on each company, and especially for smaller companies, for the founders, what exactly success means for them. So no, I don't think that having a bigger company means that you're, I don't know, you deliver more quality products. It just means that maybe, I don't know, you have more manpower if needed, but I don't think it means that you have better quality code or anything like that.
So with this thought, thinking about the next 5 years, how do you see Salt&Pepper growing? Do you see it as a company which will still have 50 people, or do you see it as having more employees, or what's your target for the next 5?
So right now, I've given this a lot of thought, and sometimes I was thinking like going for a few hundred people and having like a big company working on different products. But right now, I think that somewhere around 70 people, let's say 80 people, would be a good fit for us. Mostly because it will allow us to keep the same culture that we have right now, and way of working, which I think it's one of the things that defines success for me and for us. I mean, the fact that we have a good working culture, and everybody likes working in the team. And personally, I find it hard to scale that above 100 people, but I'm not saying it's impossible. Maybe if we talk in like 3 years, I'm gonna find a way to see that being scaled higher. But right now, that's the number, 70.
So considering you've reached a good milestone of 50 people, I think you are definitely an established company. But comparing Salt&Pepper with other companies which started like 15 years ago or even before that, there are still bigger players in the market. How do you position yourself for the next incoming years in terms of competition? Do you go playing the same game as they are because they obviously have the advantage of size and expertise because they've been doing this for a longer time? Or do you have an unfair advantage when addressing the market, which you think will help you deliver, or let's say get to the next step in your company's evolution, which might look totally different in terms of success, as you mentioned, not to be measured in size as it used to be a few years back?
Yeah, I think also here we have to look for the middle ground, because at least you cannot say that you have like a fair advantage in software development. I think it's a mix of multiple things. Now, of course, we're not competing with big tech companies like, I don't know, 500 plus people, because they're serving totally different clients. So I think we need to look in this area of companies up to 100 people. I think those are our main competitors right now. The thing that we are following is try to focus on one thing and do that thing very, very well and have a lot of experience in it. So that I think will help us stay competitive going forward.
I'd like to thank you for taking this time to speak with me, and definitely I would be very curious to see how things will look in a few years' time, and I hope we'll have the chance to do this again sometimes in the future, maybe, who knows, even in a face-to-face situation once this whole pandemic is over, and I'm looking forward to get to meet people in person once again.
Yeah, hopefully. I feel the same way, because just working in-house, sometimes it becomes very, very tiring, and I really look forward to, and also for the two of us to meet face to face and chat some more. Thanks a lot for the invite once again.
That would be great. Thank you, Cristin. Have a nice day.